Welcome to Brothers of the Word, because, brother, you need the Word. And today's message, I felt, was a little unique and a little strange, but God spoke to me and he said, today's message for some will have more meaning than I can ever imagine. And there are sometimes some ways that God will lead to speak that human flesh simply does not understand. But God knows what you're going through. And oftentimes a message is not for everyone, but it can be for a few. And he says this message today for some will have more meaning than I will ever know or understand. And last Sunday, a member came up to me after church. And she asked me, she said, Pastor, what is the secret to your skin? And she says, your skin is just as smooth as glass, it's tight, you don't have any wrinkles. What is the secret to your skin? And I did not answer them. And Suzanne, the church administrator, was standing there beside me, and she kept repeating, it's 42. He's doing 42. It's 42. That's the secret of his skin. And she said, but Pastor's skin was smooth before 42. Pastor, what is the secret to your skin? And she kept asking me over and over and over. And she would say, is it this or is it that? Or is it this or is it that? And I just stood there and I didn't answer. And Suzanne was constantly echoing, it's 42, it's 42. And for those of you who are listening electronically, 42 is the program at do42.com. It's a 42-day program that's designed for the body, mind, and spirit that's done worldwide. As a matter of fact, we just got confirmation a few days ago that a very famous celebrity is now starting on 42. If I mention the name, all of you would know it. But Suzanne kept saying it's 42. That's the reason why his skin is so smooth. And even our makeup artist, Lucretia, I remember some time ago, she told me, because she rubs my face every Sunday and has to apply makeup. We have to have makeup because of the bright lights and television. And she said, Pastor, I do makeup on all kind of folk. And she said, your skin is smoother than the vast majority of women. So when the member asked me, what is the secret to your skin? I just heard God speak, explain it to them. And for some of you, for reasons that I perhaps will never understand, it's going to have more meaning than I can possibly imagine. And even about a month ago, a man from the church stood in my office and he was talking and he said, you know, there's a woman who told me she was just mad because a man is not supposed to have skin that's smooth. Now, first of all, let me tell you people, I am a solid man. Let me get that. I'm gonna let you understand that. If you shake my hand, I do not have any cotton, weak, soft, limp-wristed handshake. I am a solid man, so don't get any indications or any thoughts about any other reason. No, I am a solid man. I want you to understand that real clear up front. But today I want to tell you the secret of my skin in today's message, simply entitled Skin Deep. And there are actually two secrets to the smoothness of my skin. Secret number one is my skin is so smooth because it is so rough. Now, some of you may not understand that. Let me explain it to you. My skin is so smooth because it is so rough. Throughout all of my life, my skin has been ultra sensitive. I can eat even now some oily junk and my skin will oil up before I can almost get through swallowing it. I mean, literally, within the space of 2 to 3 minutes, my skin will get oily just from eating junky food. And it has been that way since I was a teenager. I had bad acne when I was young. Y'all ever been teenagers and you just had bumps all over your skin and you just pop up? And I was using, the Stridex medicated pad, and I would get the Stridex and, the Oxy 5 and all. I was using all of the stuff, but even with all of that, I still had bad acne. Bumps would pop up all over my skin. So I had very bad acne when I was young, but so did many of the other teenagers of that time. And see, some problems, they fit into a category. You've got this problem, but a lot of other folk had the same issues and the same problems. That's the way I felt when I was a teenager. And yet now my skin is still just as responsive as it was back when I was a teenager. If I eat a whole lot of mess now, zits and bumps will pop out on my skin almost before I can get through swallowing it. So one of the reasons as to why it is so smooth is because it is so rough. When I was, perhaps this has been it was right after I got married that happened, but it began before then. I had massive, what I would call a medical issue with the skin on my right hand. It just break out. Nothing but my right hand. Nowhere else. My right hand would break out as if it almost had just serious psoriasis and eczema. It just broke out something terrible. It almost sent chills on you to look at it. So, and I went to the dermatologist, went to the doctor. They couldn't find anything wrong. They couldn't figure out what was wrong. But nothing but the skin on my right hand would break out into this horrendous looking, scabby, messy stuff. And one day as I was praying, God spoke to me and he said this. He said, "Eat no bread." And I stopped eating bread. And from the point that I stopped eating bread, the skin on my right hand stopped breaking out. Sometimes God will send you through a process, and you have to go through it for the blessing of other people. Second reason is because I chose the right path between the seemingly rough and the seemingly smooth. Let me explain what I mean by that. In almost all cases of life, you're given the choice of two paths. Sometimes the rough path appears rough and the smooth path appears smooth, but they're opposite. It's like going to school. Some of you now are lawyers and doctors and engineers, and those are rough paths. Sometimes the rough path appears rough and the smooth path appears smooth. You got to go through all these rough courses, do all of this heavy-duty study. You got to stay away from all of the heavy partying. You got to sacrifice. You got to go through all of this rough stuff. Whereas the smooth way is just to hang out, just take the fresh air courses, or drop out. That seems to be the easy way. So sometimes the rough appears rough and the smooth appears smooth, but in truth it's opposite. So God gave me a choice by showing me, I give you this way to life and health. It appears rough, but it's smooth. Or you can take this path and continue the way you've been doing, and the way most of the world is, it appears smooth, but in the long run is rough. And God will always give you that path. He'll always give you the choices between the two paths. That's why he says, choose ye this day whom ye will serve. Choose you this day, life or death, sickness or health, prosperity or poverty. He'll give you choices, and oftentimes the way down by simply the law of nature is always easier, because that's the law of gravity. The way down is always easier than the way up.